I walked into a silver vault with a hidden camera. What I discovered proves everything we've been saying about fractional reserve precious metals. And I have the serial numbers to prove it. Let me be clear about what I'm about to show you. This isn't speculation. This isn't theory. This is documentation of a fraud so massive, so systematic, that when you see the evidence, you'll understand why banks fight so hard to prevent investors from taking physical delivery. 3 months ago, I started planning this investigation. I needed access to a precious metals vault, not a tour, not a promotional visit. Real access where I could document inventory, photograph serial numbers, and verify what's actually stored versus what's claimed to be stored. Getting that access required creating a legitimate reason to be there. I opened allocated silver accounts with 3 different institutions. Each account required minimum deposits of $50,000. Each institution promised that my silver would be stored in segregated, allocated form with specific bars assigned to my account. Each institution provided vault visit rights as part of the service agreement. The first vault I visited was in Delaware, a private storage facility used by multiple financial institutions to hold client precious metals. The facility looks exactly like you'd expect: armed security, biometric scanners, vault doors that weigh several tons. Very impressive, very secure, very official. The vault manager who escorted me was professional and accommodating. I explained that I wanted to photograph my allocated bars for insurance documentation. This is a reasonable request. The bars have serial numbers. Photographing them creates a verifiable record. We entered Vault Section C, where my silver was supposedly stored. The vault is organized by client institution, then by client account. My bars were in a designated area with my account number on a placard. 10 100-ounce silver bars. Serial numbers visible. Everything looked correct. I photographed each bar. Serial numbers SB 47382, SB 47383, SB 47384, SB 47385, SB 47386, SB 47387, SB 47388, SB 47389, SB 47390, SB 47391. Sequential serial numbers from the same refinery batch. This is standard. When you buy allocated silver, you typically get bars from the same production run. The tour took 20 minutes. The vault manager was helpful and professional. Everything seemed legitimate. I thanked him and left. At this point, I had no reason to suspect anything unusual. My allocated silver appeared to be exactly what I paid for: 10 specific bars with documented serial numbers stored in a secure vault. 2 weeks later, I visited the second vault, this one in Manhattan. Different institution, different storage facility, but similar setup. High security, professional staff, organized vault sections. I made the same request: access to photograph my allocated silver for insurance purposes. The vault manager, a different person from a different company, gave me the same professional tour. We reached my allocated storage section. I looked at the bars, and that's when I saw it. Serial number SB 47385. The same serial number I'd photographed in Delaware 2 weeks earlier. Same refinery mark, same bar weight, same everything. The exact same bar supposedly stored in 2 different vaults, allocated to 2 different accounts, owned by the same person through 2 different institutions. I photographed it anyway, keeping my expression neutral. The vault manager didn't notice anything unusual. Why would he? He has no idea what bars are stored in other institutions' vaults. He just knows these bars are allocated to my account in his facility. I photographed all 10 bars in this vault. Serial numbers SB 47385, SB 47386, SB 47387, SB 47388, SB 47389, SB 47390, SB 47391, SB 47392, SB47393, SB47394. 7 of these serial numbers overlapped with the bars I'd photographed in Delaware. 7 bars. The same physical silver bars allocated to my account in 2 different vaults. This isn't a clerical error. This isn't a coincidence. This is systematic fraud. But I needed to be absolutely certain. Serial numbers can be faked. Photographs can be manipulated. I needed third-party verification that these were truly the same bars in 2 locations, which is physically impossible unless someone is lying about what allocated means. I requested official inventory certificates from both institutions. These are legal documents that certify specific bars are stored in specific vaults allocated to specific accounts. Both institutions provided them within a week. Both certificates listed the overlapping serial numbers. Both claimed those bars were in segregated storage allocated exclusively to my account. I now had legal documentation from 2 separate financial institutions claiming ownership of the same physical silver bars. This is fraud. Unambiguous, documented, prosecutable fraud. But I wanted to test the third institution. I visited the third vault in Chicago. Different company, different storage facility, same process. By this point, I knew what to look for. The Chicago vault had 4 bars with serial numbers matching bars I'd seen in both Delaware and Manhattan. 4 bars, same serial numbers, 3 vaults, meaning some of these bars were allocated to my account in 3 separate locations simultaneously. Here's what this proves. The allocated silver system, which is supposed to be the safe alternative to unallocated accounts, is compromised. When you pay for allocated storage, you're told you own specific bars with specific serial numbers stored in a specific vault. The entire point of allocated storage is that those bars are yours and only yours. Nobody else has a claim on them. They're segregated from the general inventory. But what I documented proves that institutions are allocating the same bars to multiple clients. They're taking your money. They're giving you a certificate claiming you own specific bars. They're allowing you to visit the vault and see those bars. But those same bars are also allocated to other accounts, possibly dozens of other accounts. This is worse than unallocated silver, where at least you know you're a general creditor. This is fraud disguised as allocated ownership. Now, let me show you how they get away with it. The key is that allocated silver clients rarely visit vaults. Most allocated accounts are held for years without the owner ever requesting physical access. The institutions know this. They count on it. Think about the logistics. If you have 100 clients with allocated accounts, and each client owns 1,000 ounces, you would need 100,000 ounces of physical silver in segregated storage. But if you know that only 2 to 3% of clients will ever visit the vault, you can store 10,000 ounces and allocate the same bars to multiple accounts. As long as clients don't visit simultaneously, nobody discovers the fraud. It's musical chairs with silver bars. The music keeps playing as long as everyone doesn't try to sit down at the same time. Here's how I tested this further. I requested delivery of my silver from the Delaware vault. The process, they told me, would take 6 to 8 weeks. I asked why. They said they needed to verify the bars, arrange secure transport, and coordinate with their logistics partners. But here's the interesting part. While waiting for the Delaware delivery, I kept my allocated accounts active in Manhattan and Chicago. I periodically checked the online portals showing my allocated inventory. The serial numbers never changed. According to the systems, my bars in all 3 locations remained in place. After 7 weeks, Delaware sent me delivery notification. The bars were ready for pickup or shipping. I arranged pickup. When I arrived, they had 10 100-ounce bars ready for me. I checked the serial numbers. Different serial numbers, not the bars I'd photographed, not the bars listed on my original allocation certificate. I asked why. The vault manager explained that they'd done an inventory optimization, and my original bars had been swapped for equivalent bars from the same refinery batch to facilitate more efficient storage organization. This is vault management speak for, we didn't have your actual bars available, so we're giving you different ones. This confirmed it. They don't maintain specific bar allocation. They maintain a pool of bars and shift inventory between clients as needed. Your allocated silver is only allocated in the database. The physical metal is fungible and shared. I took delivery of those 10 bars. Then I visited Manhattan and Chicago again. The bars with overlapping serial numbers were still in both vaults, still allocated to my accounts, still listed on my certificates. But I'd already taken physical delivery of bars that were supposed to include those serial numbers. This is the proof. This is what fractional reserve precious metals looks like in practice. You can have certificates. You can have vault visits. You can have serial numbers. You can have legal documents. And it's still fraudulent because the same physical metal is backing multiple claims. The implications are staggering. If 3 accounts can share 7 bars, how many accounts are sharing the total vault inventory? If I discovered this with just 3 accounts over 3 months, how widespread is this practice across the entire precious metals storage industry? More importantly, what happens when multiple clients demand delivery simultaneously? The institution can't deliver the same bar to 3 different people. They have to source replacement bars from somewhere. And if they can't source them fast enough, they either delay delivery, pay massive premiums to acquire physical metal, or default on their allocation commitments. This is why premiums spike during crises. This is why delivery delays increase during high demand periods. This is why banks discourage physical delivery. Because the allocated system, which is supposed to be fully backed and segregated, is actually fractional reserve. I filed complaints with regulators. I provided documentation, photographs, serial number records, allocation certificates, delivery receipts. I showed them proof that the same bars were allocated to multiple accounts in multiple vaults. The response was exactly what you'd expect. We're investigating. This appears to be an isolated incident. The institution has assured us this was a clerical error. No systemic fraud has been identified. Clerical error. The same bars in 3 vaults, allocated to the same person through 3 different institutions, is a clerical error. This is why I'm releasing this publicly. Because if regulators won't act on documented fraud, investors need to know what they're actually buying when they pay for allocated silver storage. You're not buying exclusive ownership of specific bars. You're buying a shared claim on a pool of bars that's allocated to multiple investors simultaneously. Your allocated silver is allocated the same way airline seats are allocated. They promise you a seat, but they also oversold the plane, and if everyone shows up, somebody's getting bumped. The vault tour was real. The serial numbers are real. The photographs are real. The fraud is real, and if it's happening with my accounts, it's happening with millions of other accounts. When you can't trust allocated storage, when even the supposedly safe option is compromised, what can you trust? The only answer is physical possession, in your hands, in your safe, where you can verify the serial numbers anytime you want, without asking permission. Because I walked into those vaults believing allocated meant allocated. I walked out knowing it means whatever the institution needs it to mean to keep the fractional reserve system working. And now you know too.